Hey guys, I'm the NFL Addict, and welcome back to the NFL Beans. This is my NFL news show where I spill the beans on what's going on around the NFL. Today, we actually have a lot of stuff to talk about. It's gotten so bad with the amount of stuff I'm having to stuff into these things that I'm actually going to start dropping them even daily at this point, because, you know, it used to be I've been wanting to where it's every other day, or normally sometimes I take 2 days in between them, but it got to the point to where, I am stuffing these things chock full, like 3 pages worth of information. I'm going to have to start dropping them daily. So it's either really good news if you like it, or really bad news if you're a subscriber that's having their inbox, destroyed. But let's go ahead and get started. The Cardinals have signed wide receiver AJ Green to a 1-year, $9 million deal. They lost Larry Fitzgerald, or they are losing him. I'm pretty sure he's retiring, and they are replacing him, I assume, with AJ Green. He's a veteran wide receiver, and he's been pretty productive. We've seen he's had some injury issues these past couple of years. Hasn't been as productive as he has been, in years past. But it was definitely a pretty good weapon. I think this is a good ad for the Cardinals, especially, just getting him on for 1 year, seeing what he can still do. Because if you sign him on for 1 year and he's terrible and he's, he's declining in his talent, you can drop him. I like all the 1 year deals I'm seeing. I know it's not very exciting, but it does kind of make for interesting off seasons when, people who are on 1 year deals go from deal to deal. I just like when we have really hectic off season. This is actually probably the first NFL games I've had to flip between pages, because normally it's just 1 page long or 2 pages. The 49ers are re-signing tackle Trent Williams to a 6-year, $138 million deal, which is, that's quarterback money, which just shows how good he is. He's a tackle being paid like crazy. They got him off of a trade last year with Washington. I think they gave Washington like a 3rd round pick or something, which, seeing how good he has been, they definitely got him for a steal, and now they are paying him to stick around for the long term. So they really want him. The Lions are signing Jamal Williams, the former Packers running back, to a 2-year, $8 million deal. I like this because, it's a younger guy. You've got Adrian Peterson on there, but he has some flashy games, but overall, I'm pretty sure Jamal Williams is going to be a lot better, and he's probably going to stick around for a lot longer. They got him on 2 years. I have no doubt if he goes out there and plays at his best, and he's been pretty good on the running game and in the receiving game. I feel like they'll probably use Adrian Peterson more now as a rough, tough guy. Maybe he's probably going to get in those goal line runs now. Adrian Peterson is. Meanwhile, Jamal Williams is probably more the versatile. He could probably have a lot of receptions and is more of your third down back. The Washington football team is signing cornerback William Jackson to a 3-year, $41 million deal. He was a really good cornerback, and Washington has. We all like to talk about how good that defense is, but their secondary has been lacking, especially now they lost Ronald Darby to free agency. Now they're replacing him with William Jackson, who, in my opinion, I think is going to be just as good, if not better, than him. So a good move there by Washington. The Texans have signed cornerback Tyrod Taylor to a 1-year, $13 million deal. He's probably just, So they've been more and more, less and less adamant about them not trading Deshaun Watson. It used to be they were coming out saying no. Now they're showing some hints that they may trade him, and now they've signed Tyrod Taylor, who, he's a pretty old quarterback and probably better off as a backup. He definitely, if they do trade Deshaun Watson and they've gotten rid of like half of their team at this point, it would kind of show they're ready to go into a full-on rebuild. And having Tyrod Taylor as your quarterback for a rebuild, not the worst idea. The Giants are re-signing defensive lineman Leonard Williams to a 3-year, $63 million deal. This is really good for the Giants. Leonard Williams was a force last year, arguably their best player on defense. In my opinion, I think $21 million a year, it might even be a steal at this point. He was so good, just dominating all over that line. Not much more to say there. Sean Payton says that a new quarterback after Drew Brees officially retired is on the roster, meaning that he thinks that it's either going to be Taysom Hill or Jameis Winston that will be starting in Week 1. I say that too because they don't have that much cap room, and I feel like they have better things to spend it on. But so we can expect to see a quarterback competition between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill in the next coming months. That's pretty cool to see. More Washington news. Washington has signed quarterback Ryan Fitzpatrick to a 1-year, $10 million deal, and they have already said that entering training camp, he will be their starter. And obviously they said that he's going to have competition from Taylor Heineke, and then eventually it's going to be between them to see who is their starter in week 1. But as of right now, in that quarterback room, they are saying that they expect to have Ryan Fitzpatrick out there starting for week 1. And I mean, I feel like they might have overpaid him a bit, but he looked really good last year. In my opinion, I think he had one of the better years of his career, and he's like 37. So the Patriots, we're getting a lot of Patriots news. Like Patriots and the Texans and like the Saints are like the top 3 teams in the news right now. The Patriots have signed tight end Hunter Henry to a 3-year, $38 million deal. They got, Jonnu Smith the other day, and now they're getting Hunter Henry. They are really stacking up on the tight ends here. They just want to get Cam Newton as many weapons as possible, and I like the fact they're getting tight ends because they know that Cam Newton isn't necessarily going to be tossing it downfield like crazy. They're going to get big and tough tight ends, and they're going to load up on defense, and I like this. Also, more Patriots news. I think I have something else on the Patriots here. Oh yeah, the Patriots have signed wide receiver Nelson Agholor to a 2-year, $26 million deal. He kind of had a bounce back year last year. He was pretty bad with the Eagles, the past couple of years that he was on there. Went over to the Raiders last season and had some pretty good plays. Definitely bounced back, kind of revived his career. It wasn't like an insane, amazing year, but was definitely, he went out there and shined. So on the Patriots got him now. Again, they're adding more weapons for Cam Newton, and I like this. I like this a lot because now he's got N'Keal Harry, Nelson Agholor, and he's got Julian Edelman. So that wide receiver room is starting to look better and better. And also, like I said, with the tight ends, I mean, they could be a force to reckon with on that offense and, obviously on that defense. The Jets have signed defensive end Carl Lawson to a 3-year, $45 million deal. Just getting that defense readied up. The Jets have signed wide receiver Corey Davis to a 3-year, $38 million deal. This is the biggest news. The defensive end Carl Lawson news, I normally say, I just said that because I'm going to be talking about the Jets. And I like to just talk about the teams in segments. I don't like to talk about the one move the Jets made out here, then 3 minutes later talk about another move they made. But they signed wide receiver Corey Davis. He is a really, really good weapon, and I feel like the fact that they're doing this kind of hurts those rumors for Sam Darnold being traded, because right now I feel like they're trying to get, especially with this Corey Davis sign, they're trying to build up a better team around him, because right now, if we're seeing a team in the rebuild, they had already traded Sam Darnold, they wouldn't be signing players like Corey Davis, they would be holding out into next season, but yeah, they signed Corey Davis, and it looks to me like they're trying to get a pretty good offense around Sam Darnold, and Corey Davis is, not a bad idea if you're going to try to get yourself a good offense surrounding a young quarterback. The Bucs have re-signed Rob Gronkowski, the tight end, to a 1-year, $10 million deal. I guess they liked what he was doing last year, especially towards the end of the season. Beginning of the season, he looked horrible. Let's just be honest. The first, 8 or 9 games of the season last year, it was terrible play by Rob Gronkowski. Later in the season, started targeting more. He got a lot more touchdowns. He looked a lot better towards the end of the season, and I'm guessing that we've seen them. They're trying to keep the same team. I say this in every single time I talk about the Bucs. I always talk about how they're trying to keep the same team. Chris Godwin, Tom Brady, and now Rob Gronkowski. They are just re-signing everybody. We have a lot of stuff to talk about, which is, again, the reason I'm being so hectic right now and trying not to go too in-depth into things is because, we have so much stuff to talk about. It's already 8 minutes long, and, I've still got a lot more to talk about, which, is good. I like it when a lot of stuff is happening, but for, the case of making these, the Raiders have signed defensive lineman Yannick Ngakoue to a 2-year, $26 million deal. He's bounced between teams the past this past year. He's been a force to be reckoned with. And the Raiders got him. And the Raiders are looking more and more like they're going to be a surprise team next year. My surprise team, I don't think enough people are talking about how good the Raiders could potentially be in the next coming years, because they looked really good the first 10 weeks of this season. They had that Jets game where they almost lost to the Jets, and then it all kind of fell apart from there. And I feel like, with all the signings they've been making and, some of the moves I've been seeing them make, I feel like they could potentially be a contender next year. Not for the Super Bowl, but possibly, for maybe one playoff win. I'm not sure. The Broncos have re-signed defensive lineman Shelby Harris to a 3-year, $27 million deal, and they have signed former Washington cornerback Ronald Darby, who I was talking about earlier, to a 3-year, $30 million deal. I have a few things. a lot of the moves we're seeing the Broncos make all about that defense. And I like this because their defense has always been their strength. I mean, even back when they won the Super Bowl, their defense was their strength. The Broncos defense, when you think of the Broncos, you kind of instantly think about defense. So I like the fact that they're bumping up that defense, but at the same time, you have a young quarterback who probably is getting one of his last chances, if not this coming year, then maybe 2022. Probably getting his last chance to, start for this team and prove that he can be the future of the Broncos organization. And the fact that they're not really doing much to help that, the fact that they're not really, signing a bunch of receivers and stuff, because, they just went there and dumped $30 million on Ronald Darby and $27 million on Shelby Harris. They could have spent, I feel like that would have been better spent, maybe getting a wide receiver, because, they don't really have too many good wide receivers. They've got, what's his name? They've got a pretty good running back, if I could remember his name. I don't know why his name is slipping on my mind right now. Yeah, so more stuff to talk about. This is more like Bolton as the Bills are signing wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders to a one-year deal. We don't know how much yet, so that's why I'm not going too in-depth on that. The Dolphins have signed quarterback Jacoby Brissett to a one-year, $5 million deal. I feel like this actually probably helps the fact that probably helps Tua's chances of starting, because I feel like if they're going to sign, Jacoby Brissett, I'm pretty sure they're going to use him as a backup. The Bears have signed quarterback Andy Dalton to a one-year, $10 million deal. This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see why they did it. I just can't make sense to me. I just don't understand it. Spending $10 million on Andy Dalton right now, I don't think they're just going to let Nick Foles start 100% next season. I also don't feel like Andy Dalton is going to be any type of competition for Nick Foles to be starting. You saw how badly he was. Even when the Cowboys started playing a lot better towards the end of the season, a lot of that had to do with the fact that Ezekiel Elliott started trying to turn his season around, and Ezekiel Elliott actually was a big part of the Cowboys' success in the last couple of weeks in the season. Andy Dalton still wasn't looking very good. The Browns have signed defensive end Takk McKinley to a one-year, $4 million deal. Nothing too crazy to talk about there. The Jaguars have signed quarterback Shaquille Griffin to a 3-year, $45 million deal. The Titans have signed defensive lineman Bud Dupree to a 5-year, $85 million deal. The only thing I want to talk about there is I think a lot of y'all being way too hard on him. He was a pretty good player for the Steelers last year. In my opinion, I definitely think they're overpaying him by a lot. But the fact that y'all are coming on here saying he was terrible, I don't like it. The Rams have re-signed defensive end Leonard Floyd to a 4-year, $64 million deal, and that's that. Sorry if this video again was a bit, hectic, and I didn't seem like I don't know, I was stumbling through a lot of my words, but that's just because we have a lot to talk about. When we have a lot to talk about, in my mind I'm saying get through this quickly, because 12 minutes long, I don't like that. I don't like 12 minutes. I want these to be, 5, 6, 8 minute max videos, under 10 minutes at least. And having, a 14-minute long video just doesn't sit right with me. But thank you so much for watching. This has been NFL Beans episode number 41. I hope to see you back in episode number 42, which will probably be dropping tomorrow. And the only bad thing about me dropping daily is that's probably going to hurt my chances of making different types of videos. Like earlier, I made a predicting which quarterback will be starting for every team type of video. I want to be making more of those, and I will be after the draft, but before the draft I want to, and I just don't have any ideas. And now that I'm going to be dropping these every single day, that's going to be less of an opportunity to make some of those. It's complicated. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope to see you in episode number 42. Until then, goodbye.